First of all, thank you very much. I know some of you will see me as a bit of a latecomer to Bismarang, and you've been involved with Guy for a long time. But while that has been going on, I've obviously, some of you will know that I've been building the NI Business Facebook page, which started in June last year, and we're now sitting in around 33,000 members. And the success of that has come around partly through the fact that everyone is sharing it, but the main reason has been the energy and the engagement that we've been able to develop in the group by setting the right tone, by avoiding the pitfalls of debate over politics, and even in the context of major issues such as Brexit and COVID, we just kept the energy high, and the success of it was based on engagement and growth. And those are the features that really, that when Guy and I got together, we felt that we need to look at in any network. And we wanted to build on what we've achieved in Bismarang and in NI Business, and add those into NI Business Pro, and give ourselves and give the opportunity to grow a network that is different from all the other networks. And when we look at people, why people want to join networks, and you guys have all joined the network, but we want to expand it and grow it as well, so that we create a better network for you that are already in the Bismarang network, and now when we launch NI Business Pro. And it's what we want is connections, community, support, advice, opportunity, education. All of those things are what make a network really, really successful. But the main one there are the first two. That connections piece and the community piece lead to all the others. They lead to support, advice, opportunity, and education. And the connections you make in any network lead to a community. And it can be starting off saying, I want to get new business, I want to get new clients. But the whole process of that, even in the offline world, isn't I meet somebody, I sell to them. It's I meet somebody, I get to know them, I know what they do, I spend time learning about them. And that's what we're going to hopefully facilitate with what we're doing when we launch NI Business Pro. And all of those bits and pieces about the connections and community lead to everything else. But what gets in the way of network success? And I have this experience. I've been in the IOD, I've been in the chamber, I've been in a variety of things. And I've failed at networking in some cases, and I've also succeeded in other cases. And one of the things was I joined the IOD, and then I spent a couple of years in it, and I got nothing out of it. And I was spending in the region, through the business, obviously, about £1,000 a year in the IOD. And then after the second year, I thought, well, what have I got for that? What can I show for that? And there was nothing. And then I followed it up, and I thought, okay, I thought about it. I left for a couple of years, and then I went back and I joined. But the first thing I did when I joined the second time was I asked the questions, are there any committees that I can join? Is there something I can do? Is there something I can contribute? And that first committee, which was the membership committee, I joined, I immediately was sitting around the table with 10 people. And then I eventually became the chair of that committee, and that got me onto the IOD Northern Ireland committee. And that got me to be a much, much stronger network of knowledge base, that I could pick up the phone to people that I had met through all of those connections which had built up over that period of time. So it was that duality that really started me to think about networks. And everything that I've joined since, I don't just join and wait, I join and participate. And that's where network success is. And we need to follow up more. I don't want to say what I'm good at. And this is one of the things we'll be talking about a little bit later, because one of the things about Northern Ireland, which makes us lovely people, is reticence and slight self-deprecation. But that can sometimes go too far. And then we never actually find out whether anyone's any good at anything. And if we're going to create a really good network, it's not coming out and saying, hey, I'm really good at this all the time, but it's being there to help people who need support and questions, that says, yeah, you know what, I can help you with that. We all worry about people, what people think of us. It's just a natural human trait. But again, if we facilitate and help through the networking, people have reasons to talk and things to say about themselves, about their businesses, about their experience with customers. I mean, we have a commonality in a network, which is we all have customers, we all are in the business environment. The other side of that coin is that other people can sit back a little bit and let others do the talking. I think I mentioned this before in one of the chats. I was at a thing in the States when I worked for McKane worldwide. And at this event, they asked for volunteers, and all the people like me who talk too much stuck our hands up. and we were told to go and sit in the corner and not say anything. And the result of that was two things. One, it shut us up, but the other thing was it encouraged other people who had let us do the talking to join in. So again, what we're looking at is saying, giving people opportunities to maybe step forward who have sat back a little bit too much. I do talk too much. You will find it, and I'm more than happy for anyone to say enough, Tim. The other thing is people get nervous, and I still get nervous. I've trained in presentations and things like this, and people, oh, you're very good at it and all this. I was rubbish at it, and I've learned how to do better. But it doesn't mean I don't get nervous. And the other thing is that we all want to be liked. So all of those things are challenging to us, but I think what we're going to do in a really good network is to realize that, you know what, the opposite of that is when you look at, I talk to Mitch, people do like listening. When people say, I get nervous, everyone wants you to succeed. And you say, I want to be liked, everyone starts off wanting to like you. So we've got to remember what a network is about. People join it all feeling like this, but everyone else is feeling, yeah, I want to get to know you. I want to hear from you. I want to know what you're good at. So we have to sort of look at that slightly differently. And we talk about energy. And the one thing I feel that happens in business, and I've seen this and throughout my career, I've worked with huge numbers of clients, with lots and lots of different people. And what happens, I find, with business is that the energy that we started with can get drained because suddenly we discover that running a business isn't all about the idea. And it can be tiring, but it can also be mentally draining. So a lot of people who are great with ideas suddenly have to learn how to look at spreadsheets, and it can be challenging and it's tiring. And then they find that the idea is harder to get off the ground. One of the things I've seen so many times in my career, people who've had ideas and they think that they're going to be able to, the supermarkets are going to buy this and that'll be me off and running, because they've no idea of the challenge that it can be to get in front of a supermarket and to get them to buy it. But when you start off knowing that, it isn't draining, it's actually enthusing, because then you say, how can I put together a great presentation that when I get in front of these people that I'm going to make a difference to them? And all of that is about re-energizing you as part of the network, helping you with understanding the different sectors that you want to work in, the things you want to do, but also by the support and the energy and the understanding, the experience that can help you with what you're doing. And I think re-energizing and getting you as excited, and a lot of you are already, having met you in the Bismarang group, but there's a lot of people out there, they just get weary, and we want to re-energize and get that spark back. We also are looking at success. There's no point in all of this unless we can look and say we want to look at what success is. And I did some research in the Facebook group with, and I got a huge number of responses to it. And it was interesting. The most common thing that people saw as success was the balance, time and balance in their life. But that comes from financial achievement as well. What I mean by achievement is sometimes we just want to be seen to be doing well. Or we want to be seen that, we've achieved something, we've done something, we've started a business, we've set out, we've got there. And it's just, we all like a pat on the back, and sometimes that visibility is great. But that time and balance is all part and parcel of the same thing. But it is really, really important. And anyone I've worked with who has got family, I say to them, look, I'm never going to ask anybody to put this job in front of your family. It's my personal opinion. I think family is by far the most important thing. My kids are my wife are the most important things in my life, to the extent that I won't let that get away. But also success and confidence, personal growth and rewards. And confidence it comes out of itself. We see that mostly in sport. You can see somebody, if any of you are golfers or whatever sport, somebody has a few good shots, then they have a few more. On the other side of that coin is that they can lose that confidence and it can disappear very quickly. In a network, the way to rebuild your confidence is to ask for some help, ask for some advice, learn something new, be given a direction to go. All of those things can help in your personal growth. And then, of course, the rewards, and those encompass all of that. The rewards are not just financial. We don't live in a market where people, and we see this in America. If you live in New York, everyone wants to be billionaires. Very few of the people I've ever worked with in Northern Ireland have a long-term goal of being really, really wealthy. They have a long-term goal, usually, of being comfortable, but also contribution is very much part of that. And that's where you can get that feedback. One of the most rewarding things I did, and I didn't get a penny for it, and that's not because I was on the board of NI Screen for 9 years. The reward I got was watching the growth of the film industry and contributing very, very tiny bits to the board meetings and to some of the committees. But the real reward, wow, it was a very, very exciting time. And also I learned and I got to meet all sorts of different people from the film business. It was very, and I've always been interested in film, so it was great. Engagement is about opening up. And that's, again, part of the thing. And facilitating that is good. You know, sometimes when we all see this, start talking about something, and it's not that easy. But what we'll be looking at, you'll see when Guy talks about some of the topics we're going to be talking and using as themes for getting us all to have a think about what's coming up and to tell your stories. You know, the best things we learn, and we all learn, is from other people. It's about being available to both the meetings, but also what we'll be doing and what Guy's going to be promoting and helping us with, and make myself included, is using the app more. So that being available doesn't mean that it's just whenever we're at the meetings. It's saying, okay, somebody comes onto the app and asks a question. It's about creating the conversations, accessing the network. Fresh thinking and innovation are going to be a big, big part of what we're going to be trying to do. And there are ways to do this, you know, and this is where we'll be helping with that. How can you be innovative? Well, there are systems that are there that have been used by Apple. There's all sorts of systems, and I've used many of them. And the opportunity to learn how to use those helps everybody's business, because we just want to help everybody move away from all looking the same. And that's what marketing fundamentally is about, is being the tall poppy in the field. And growth is the areas that we need help with. I mean, there's things I can help with, but there's areas, the actual running a business bit is, I'm absolutely terrible at it. And I find it really stressful. I'm really bad at it, and I want somebody else to do it. Recruitment is, again, we can help with people in the network. Marketing, I will talk the hind leg off several dogs. Sales, again, is not the same thing. And I get help with sales. Efficiency, we've seen that somebody in the Facebook group is all about decluttering. And she had huge success with running some online courses for people just to clear their space, and it works mentally and also helps them run more efficiently. How do we drive that energy and success towards growth? And that's sometimes, particularly if you're in a small business on your own, there's nobody there to say, well done. And that's where we want to encourage that in the network. We want you to tell us successes that you've had, things that you've achieved, and they don't have to be huge. And just so because we all feel better if somebody it's like somebody as part of our team does well, part of our network does well, we'll all benefit from that. So we're going to be giving people opportunity to do that. And that creating conversations is the same slide as the one I just had there now. And you can see, I just was keeping myself. So these are some of the conversation themes. Obviously, we have the 9:30 on Tuesday. We're just rebranding that as the business workout. And that's really to give ourselves a bit of a stretch every Tuesday morning, get ready for the week, having sort of cleared on Monday, but also just, you know, continuing that and adding that element of it becoming an exercise process whereby we all leave it at the end of that with a bit of energy, having met more people, having heard more people's stories. We're going to be running a series of things called 10 Minutes to Learn, and that's where we're going to get people with expertise to come on and just do little short videos that will help us all. So I'll be helping with marketing. Guy will be doing marketing and some networking stuff as well. We're going to be talking to people about doing things, simple things that we all need to know, like, for example, in spreadsheets and accountancy, whether it's legal things, well, all elements of business. And we're going to do a number of videos in that called 10 Minutes to Learn. So they're short, they're sweet, they're pithy, they're not going to take a lot of energy, and they're going to be straightforward in an easy learning curve. The Thursday learning process, which we're here now, we're just going to rebrand that as the Knowledge Bank, and we're going to store all of those in one place that we'll be able to go and look and see what the discussion was about that week. My big business moment is saying to you guys, tell us your stories. Tell us what was a big business moment that happened to you or made a difference to you, or even when you were working somewhere and you hadn't started, what was it that sparked it? And we want to hear, we want you to tell us, we want people to enjoy the conversation that creates. And we go back to the other thing we talked about being slightly too reticent. Tell us what you're good at, and we're going to know. We're going to prompt people to do that. We're going to say, tell us what you're good at. There's no harm in that. It's not a bad thing to do. We are very, as I say, we're very reticent. And the other thing then, we're going to have an I don't know session. I mean, we all know less about things than what we do know about. That didn't make much sense. But I love learning. I just do. I just love listening to people. I love hearing from other people, because every single engagement is a learning opportunity. And the stories we hear, and we've heard them in the networks in Bismarck today, and also on the Tuesday mornings, is the opportunity to get people to tell us what they know, but also to say, look, I don't know this. Can somebody help? And the older I get, the more I say that, and the more I enjoy learning as a result of it. So why would you listen to these two guys? Well, there's one guy and there's me. And I just want, this is the successes pieces. I'll not tell you my whole story, but in 1988, I worked at BPA McCann, and we won 13 of 15 pitches. And that was my first big year in advertising. Very, very exciting. We were working all the hours God gave us. There was no technology. And I wrote a line called Stewart's Have It, which was just the two words, have it. And we won the Stewart's account on the back of that. And it was so simple that it sort of confused people. Oh, sure, what's good about that? And nobody else wrote it, and we won the thing. That should be a DNA award in 1988, which is the highest in UK advertising. I was in London for that. It was great. I set up Fire IMC. We won pitches and worked with Tesco, Ulster Bank, Northern Tourist Board, Vodafone, Deco. And the big thing about my successes and where I look at my success, it's on getting other businesses to succeed. And that's the same as in this network. Every pitch that we worked with on that was understanding what those businesses were trying to achieve and facilitating that with their marketing. It wasn't about us coming in and saying, hey, we're really good at that. It was spending time with them. It was learning about them. It was then saying, okay, here's how we can help. And this is exactly what we're trying to do with NI Business Pro. It's how can we help? Because once we worked with all of those clients, one, I was learning from every one of them because they were in different sectors, but I was also learning about their audiences, about who they're talking to, how we can engage with them, how we can make people think differently about each of those brands or those businesses. And that was a lot of time spent with the clients working out to make things better. I was on the board of NI Screen for 9 years. I've touched on that. I set up Navatalk Digital in 2010, and it worked very, very well for a while. And then there's a pretty big market out there of people offering digital services. And that, again, is a learning curve. It's undercut the value and the price you can get. And now I'm much more in consultancy. I created a completely new thing with the Northern Ireland government called MyNI, and we will touch on that again at some time. But most recently, obviously, it's the Northern Ireland Business Facebook group with 33,000 members in 10 months, and it's worked. And the main thing about it is a network, hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of business being done. And again, because I'm bad at the business bit, I haven't got any of it. So there you go. So that's me. I'm going to hand over to Guy now, and he's going to take you through the slightly more practical elements of it.
So to follow on from Tim and this whole thing about not being reticent about talking about ourselves, I'll just some of the highlights of my career. There's been a lot of lowlights as well, but there's some highlights as well. So just a quick back in 2005, 2006, we were driving 14% of 40 leisure breaks turnover for 2 years, largely done through quarterly mailings for 330 hotels. I led the team that launched 12 British Airways travel shops across the UK for British Airways. At the same time, we were running all the below-the-line marketing coming out of British Airways Gatwick, so we were launching new routes to Phoenix and San Diego and all that sort of stuff. In 1999, I founded Screen Media Control Systems, which later on acquired Jim TV. By the time we got to 2008, 2009, we had a monthly audience of 7.3 million people on treadmills who were watching our screens across 300 TV channels, 1,800 audio channels, and so on. With that business, we grew that turnover. When we acquired Jim TV, we grew the turnover fivefold in 3 years. I exited that in 2009 and started doing something very similar to Tim, actually, in terms of starting a digital agency. And we had the same experience as well. We found people undercutting us. That was called Guru Networks, where we actually ended up just, I think we chopped off the arm before, a couple of years before Tim did. I liked what you were saying, Tim, about helping other businesses to succeed, because that's essentially where I ended up, or why I ended up as an entrepreneur in residence at Catalyst Inc., which is formerly the Northern Science Park. I've been there for 6 years. I do it pro bono. We've mentored and helped literally not countless, but tens of new businesses coming through through the science park, not just in tech startups, but other businesses that have reached that £500,000 turnover level, and would take them from there, or help them to get them from £500,000 to £5 million turnover. So some of those successes, particularly the smaller business, and particularly the tech sector, would be Rep Night, Field Motion, Persona Sports, and many more. And of course, I'm a co-founder of Bizmarang. I have all sorts of other things I can talk to you about M&Ms and what we've done, what we did with Mars UK in 2014, 2015. But it's I'm now getting bored of talking about myself. So one of the questions that I've been asked a lot over the last couple of weeks when we've been talking about what's going on with NI Business Pro and Bizmarang local and NI. So essentially what we're doing is we're taking the Bizmarang local, Northern Ireland local circle, and changing it into the NI Business Pro. So where does it live? Where does it sit? So Bizmarang hasn't gone away. Bizmarang hasn't changed. Just NI Business Pro is a circle within Bizmarang. So we have a number of circles that are up and running within Bizmarang. If you look on your screen, you'll see Build Your Business, to essentially coming from a Facebook group with 22,000 people across the UK who are starting businesses, and they're in their very early stage. That's just on pause at the moment because Matt Spivey's father died. But then you see NI Business Pro, but you also see the Northern Business Referral Network run by Shane. So it's not that that this is any way competing. It's just another way of providing a different type of community. And then we have the Web Club with Patricia. We also have, just kicking off as well, London Musicians Network. So another Facebook group of 30,000 members, which is just beginning to take off on the Bizmarang platform. And we have the Lawyers Circle coming, and then there's Empowering Change that has already been there for a while. So the point being is that NI Business Pro sits within the Bizmarang school of existing circles. Anybody who's done our community design course will understand about a weekly calendar. Yes, we will have our monthly themes, which we'll talk about more on Tuesday, what's coming up. But the weekly calendar is going to be simplified. The bits that are set in stone will be slightly simplified. So as Tim's already touched on, Tuesday networking is kind of going to be known as the business workout, 9:30 a.m. every Tuesday. Thursday live learning will be the knowledge bank, and both those two will run similarly as they are at the moment. So the business workout, you'll have seen how we've changed the format slightly over the last 6 weeks or 8 weeks. It's because we've been testing what works and doesn't work, and getting the best feedback from it. Just on the business network, so you'll find that actually the first Tuesday of every month is open, and that will be the big one. It'll be for an hour and a half, and that'll it'll be referred to as the Connection Summit, and that'll be either hosted by either myself or Shane. And that's really, it's open, it's free, it's for everybody. It's for those who want to do the referral circle. It's for those in NI Business Pro who want to test out or try out NI Business Pro, etc. As I say, Thursday will be specifically for the Knowledge Bank, and that'll be every Thursday. And then Friday polling day is where we're going to be polling and gaining our understanding of as a community what our opinion is on whatever that question of the week has been. Okay, so you'll find that on our Tuesday networking, we'll usually pose at least 2 questions. And then we will create a poll after that based on once we've been through that process or had these discussions, what do we think on X subject? Okay, and hopefully that'll help and promote conversations and engagement, and everybody will get a chance to join in. But we're also going to be running other events in there as well. So as Tim mentioned, my big business moment. What can we all learn from our success or failure? A big business moment. There's probably more failures than there are successes. I know that's probably true in my case, but there's no reason why we can't share those or want to share those, because they were big business moments. As Tim mentioned, I don't know. We'll ask the question, I don't know, when we specifically go out and ask for knowledge. I don't know how to do this on Excel, or I don't know the difference between a balance sheet and a cash flow forecast. I don't know how to run an ad in Facebook or whatever it may be. Okay. And then there's also, as we've just demonstrated, there is nothing wrong with being a show off. I am good at. This is what I'm good at. And if that's helpful to you, great. Or it's helpful to somebody fine. But let me just tell you about it, because I'm actually really good at it. And everybody has one of those. At least one, probably two. Another event that Tim didn't mention was Team Talks. Again, these will be sort of scattered throughout our monthly diary. We'll probably be doing one or two a month. And this is essentially where Tim or myself will be, but mostly Tim, because he talks too much, will be interviewing some mostly prominent people from business in Northern Ireland, but not necessarily all of them. So the people that we've got lined up so far are Ross Thompson of Punjana Tea, Ken Belshaw of Grafton Recruitment, Judith Totten of InvestNI and many other things, Mark Dowds of, some of you have met before within Bismarang, he's chairman of TechStart and many others, one of the early investors in Uber and all that sort of stuff. But also, so these guys are sort of really quite senior, sort of big business type people, but actually we're looking at talking to people like Rory King, who has started his own drinks business in Northern Ireland, but he's in his early stages. The likes of Alistair Brown, who has in 2 years, built a business that's turning over £250,000 from scratch, and just essentially a solicitor who turned his dad's electrical business into something much, much bigger than it is. All these people have really good stories to tell. And so, as I say, we will be running these on a regular basis for the members of the NI Business Pro Circle.
Can I just say there, Guy?
No problems, Tim.
One of the things about each one of those people is their enthusiasm and energy. Ross has been in Thompson's Tea in Punjana as his family business. But if you think I can talk a lot about advertising, you want to hear Ross about tea, and he's brilliant. I mean, it's so enthusing to hear how excited he is to this. I mean, Ross is near 70 than 60 anymore, and he still has a complete and utter thrill about his business, as does Judith. Ken is one of the best storytellers about business that you could ever meet. But that's what we're picking. We're picking people. I know all of them. I mean, Ken started off, my dad gave him his first job, so he started off without anything, and then that's how he grew from a small business to a big business. So they're fantastic people to talk to.
And that's what I love about all these people, is it's a life story with each of them as well. The business just happens to be, a big part of it, but actually, particularly for example with Mark Dowds, the backstory and the life behind it is just really, really interesting. Anyway, okay. Other question I'm asked on a regular basis is: are we saying goodbye to Facebook completely? No, we're not. The existing groups and pages will continue, but we will change how we use them. So Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, etc. we'll only use as promotional media. So if you want to see all those bits that we've just been talking about, they will all take place within the Mighty Networks /Bismarang app, and the circle within the app. Yes, we will shout about the content that's going on in there and the engagements that are going on in there, but as you'll see with the Northern Business Facebook group with 33,000 members, trying to get one-to-one engagement becomes very, very difficult, and it's become very, very noisy. Why do we want to do this? Well, as I say, it primarily there are many reasons why, particularly Facebook, is not great for building communities. It's great for exchanging information and pushing information one way, but it's not excellent for that one-to-one or building that community feel. And part of it is because it's far too noisy. If you want me to go into the numbers about that, I can do, but I'm just conscious of the time that we have going in here. How much are we going to charge for this? We are going to charge $30 per month. Why are we going to charge $30 a month? Well, first off, it's in dollars because of Mighty Networks. I'm really sorry they still haven't managed to sort out the sterling capability for us. But the other reason, or the main reason, it's a sifter. If you can't commit, or you're unwilling to commit to paying for the benefits, then this really isn't the community for you. And I mean that genuinely. It's not that, we want to say, this is only for the rich, because it's not. $30 a month is not an awful lot of money. But frankly, if you can't commit to doing that, then we don't see you committing to the community. And this community is all about people supporting and helping each other. Yes, Tim and I and Sandra can do our bit, but we're the hosts. But the community, the strength of the community will be the engagement between the community members themselves. So if you can't commit to $30 a month, it's highly unlikely you're going to commit to the engagement that is required from you. The second reason is, we need a budget pot to maintain the quality. Okay, so I've already turned down 2 people in the last 6 weeks who want to do lunch and learns with us because they not unreasonably wanted to get paid for it, and that was absolutely fine. But we had to say we don't have a budget, so we can't pay you. At which point it was, thank you very much. Somebody then came back and said, well, all right, then I'll do it for this price, which we said, okay. But primarily, if we want to be maintaining that the quality in there, then it does cost some money, not huge amounts of money, but just some money. And thirdly, our time is valuable. There's an awful lot of work goes into this and into running communities like this. Frankly, that time should be paid for. So that's where we are on that one. Your host team, all of us already. Between us, we have a centenary of business. And when I tell you that Sandra's only 28 years old, then you'll understand how much time and myself and Tim have got under our belts. Yes, Tim's creative lead. I'm king of the buttons, as you know. I'm generally the one that pushes those buttons. But frankly, Sandra Parry cracks the whip and keeps us all in line and makes sure it actually happens. And finally, I just wanted to show you this slide. Another question I get or people have been saying is, oh, Guy, the sort of people and the sort of members that you're talking about, they're going to be an NI Business Pro, are they just not kind of my target audience? They're not kind of really me. I don't know if you've heard of the Dunning-Kruger graph, but essentially, if you've heard the expression, a little bit of knowledge can be dangerous, this is kind of where it comes from. If you think this left-hand axis is the confidence you have in a particular subject, and the bottom axis is the sort of wisdom and knowledge or experience that you get over time, that in fact, when you have a little bit of knowledge, you're highly confident that you know what you're talking about. But in terms of competency, it's not that great. But once you've realized that, and you've realized that, in fact, your knowledge isn't that high, your confidence drops, but you begin to realize that you can do something about it. And as your knowledge and experience and judgment gains, then you can see that you move further right up the curve all the way along. Now, just because you have been through this process in one subject doesn't mean to say you can't go through it in another. So, for example, I would have thought when it comes to running communities, and my knowledge would be somewhere around about here. Okay, but if you'd asked me in December 2019, it would have been around about here. And we have learned through this curve of how to do it. But if you wanted to ask me in 2012 about running captive area networks, I was way up here on the right-hand side, but I had been through this whole process. And the point being is that if we have a community which has a mixed range of ages and experiences, that in fact, actually the people at one end of this curve can be helping people at the other end of this curve. And because you have a broad range of experiences, some people who are later in their career, shall we say, like myself or Tim, can be gaining knowledge from people who are much earlier in their careers because of the experiences that they have been through. So to start off with, well, Northern Ireland Business Pro is going to be a very broad church, but there is a very good reason for that, is because, as Tim kept saying, we continue to learn from each other and help each other and support each other. So really, that's kind of it from me. Tim, is there anything you want to add in there? Or
No. I just feel that just looking at the final slide there, one of the things that we recognize in successful businesses change. And people talk about change management and disruption and all of these things. I mean, I've seen businesses completely disappear in my lifetime. Typesetting and color separations and all replaced by computer technology. I've seen the media world change in the last 10 years, completely beyond recognition. And that's how that's impacted on advertising and market, while we've seen the growth in social media. So it's that constant change that we have to be, and when we look at a curve, we have to try and help our network not just catch up, but be ahead of the curve. And that's when Guy looks about getting speakers involved. There's people that we both know and are going to bring that are cutting edge. They're going to be challenging, and it's not just explaining things. There's a friend of mine in London, Farad Kadaruth, is just one of the best guys you'll ever hear on digital. And Farad's going to come and talk to us. And so there's a number of things. It's just that ability to help us all and every little bit of knowledge. And the one thing, Guy talks about the end of your career. I'm not, I still think I'm at the beginning. But it is a constant learning curve. And I just love learning both with what I read, but also with who I meet. And everyone in the room can contribute to my knowledge. And that's what I want.
Cool. Great stuff. So I note with disappointment, there's not very many questions in the chat box. Were we really that good? Or is there any questions that people want to ask? Stephen, you were just waving at me, or is that you just sticking your finger in your eye?
No, sorry, I couldn't find the unmute button. No, I was trying to multitask very badly.
Okay. Has anybody got any questions on where we're going? Yes, Nolan.
Can I just ask you, because I've been speaking to some people over the weekend, some of my friends in Galway, and I was encouraging them to come to Bismarck, telling them it was free and stuff like this, because I wasn't aware exactly what was happening. But anyway, does this mean that when you go to the web club and the different ones, you pay each time in different places?
Yes, if the web club is going to charge you, yes, you would be charged for that. So and the same with the business referral group, etc. Each one, the idea being is that you pay for the benefit that you receive. So none of those, for example, will charge you an annual fee up front. The idea being is that you go in and if you're getting $30 worth of benefit from it a month, then fine, carry on. If you're not getting $30 benefit from it, then walk away. Okay, that's entirely what it's about. Okay, so yeah, so the whole concept behind Bismarck is you only pay for what you're getting benefit for. Okay.
Perfect, thank you. And there's no contract, is there?
No contract whatsoever. As I say, you're really not bound in. And can I say I'll share the link at the end of this, is that the first 30 days will be free, and it'll be the same for everybody. First 30 days will be free, so you can come in and try it. If you don't like it, that's fine, not a problem. Paddy, were you stroking your head, or were you just putting your hand up there?
Struggling with sunburnt head.
I think the thing we have to remember about the value proposition on both sides, it puts us on our mettle to make sure we deliver value.
Yes.
There's nothing. We're not going to sit back and say, "Oh yeah, great, we've got all," because we know that anyone can leave whenever they want. So, but we're both passionate about getting this to work for you, because what you need from us is one good customer, and that's your year paid. But that doesn't mean that we're going to sit back and wait. We're going to keep getting you more and more opportunities and more experience and more engagement, and more comfort. It's just really, really good being part of a network that you value.
So Sarah McKinney has put a question in the chat box. This sounds great, and we'll have to watch a replay. Not a problem. Would this be good for startups? Absolutely, Sarah. Absolutely. But it won't be specifically designed directly at startups, but the great thing about a community is that we're all here to help each other. So again, yes, Tim and my name goes sort of near the top of the masthead, but this is all about everybody helping each other. And the stuff, I know that because you're working presently in PwC, there is other stuff that you can bring to the community other than just your startup. Okay, and that's kind of what I was talking about with that curve. All right. As I say, Stephen can talk to you about anything from software development to digital sales with Google to how to deal with dead bodies, literally. Okay, because they, but we all have something else we can.
In the professional sense, Guy, not in the paramilitary sense, I would like to add.
Is Stephen H? Are you H, Stephen?
I could be X, Y, and Z as well, I think, if you listen to Guy's stories.
Can I just say one of the things about startups, and you know, you look around, particularly in America, the thing about startups in America is they start up with everything. They start with they thinking about their marketing, about their branding, about what they're going to do, about their planning. What you find in Northern Ireland startups, and I've had a number of them coming, I've been in business for 18 months now, I need to start thinking about my marketing. And I'm going, I'm not quite sure, but you know, they're all part and parcel. And if you can get access to these people for a startup, what a brilliant opportunity to get off the ground properly, rather than, you know, adding extra time to your getting started.
Absolutely. Again, it's an awful lot with my mentoring clients is that I end up bringing all sorts of other people into that, because there are things like they need their accountancy set up, or they need to get, you know, they need specialist help with Facebook marketing or whatever it may be. All that stuff. My job there is actually just there to facilitate. And it's the same here. Our job here is to facilitate everybody on this passionate of, we want to get our energy back for our businesses, and how do we do it? Okay.
A quick question, guys. Sorry, just
go ahead. Yeah, sure. Gareth.
Apologies if I'm getting this confused here. It's just I've been chatting to Shane recently about the referral group and stuff that he started up. So is that separate to this?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay, so it's a separate fee then. So that's £35 a month. This is $30 a month.
Exactly right.
And
exactly.
the $30 a month encompasses everything you were showing us there around the business workout, the knowledge bank, and all the rest of the stuff. That's
all of that. All
okay.
of that above.
And the other thing as well is just regards from experience of other networking groups. Is it going to be a case of one profession in the group?
No, not at all.
So you can have multiple people from the same
Absolutely,
profession.
yes.
That's very much the determination we have, Gareth, is to spread. It'll work well with more different people from different backgrounds. And again, both for when we need work done, but also when we need people to buy from us. So it's very much part of the ambition is to grow this as a proper network, and keep the suits out of it.
Yeah. So Sarah's just also been talking about in the chat box there about how sometimes in the Facebook group, both the Bismarang one, well, this applies to both the Bismarang one and the NI Business one, is that there is can be an awful lot of clutter and crap being talked about this. The great thing about Bismarang circles, all of them, is that they have human hosts in the middle of it. Okay, and they are essentially there to not only to make sure that things happen on time and to set the themes and all that sort of stuff, but they're also in some ways might be described as the policeman. Okay, so that in fact that if there is some crap going on in there, actually the host, not just of the NI Business Pro, has the ability just to say, "I'm really sorry, bye-bye. We have no contract here that you know, if you're misbehaving or you're being detrimental to other people, or you're just not very good for the group, then fine. It works both. This leaving works both ways. So absolutely. So will the majority of people be in that group? Will they be business owners? Absolutely, Sarah. Yeah. And if they're not contributing or they're being unhelpful, then they won't be.
Or senior business people. It's going to be a business environment, very much so.
Yeah.
It's not shoppers.
Justin, absolutely. Will the membership have the opportunity to ask specific topics to be covered as the group matures? Yes, indeed. In the, I was just thinking about this very one this morning. It's almost as if I asked you to ask this question, Justin, though I know you didn't. There exist in the NI Business Pro circle, there are existing topics as we speak at the moment. I am actually going to cull a lot of them over the weekend. Okay. We have some basics how we're setting out to start with. But this is a community for all of us. So if anybody has ideas for topics that they want to put in there, absolutely, please do so. This is not the Tim, Guy and Sandra show. This is the community of all of us together.